This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Let's welcome Nikoline Calcaterra back here. She's the CEO, chef, and founding practitioner, and so much more. And we're going to talk about her work today. Again, it's Holobiome Holistics. She's based out of North Bay, which is in Ontario. She's helping people all over, and we're going to get to see her again. If you haven't seen our last podcast, hopefully you can rewatch them. But just a little overview as to who you are before we kind of dive into today's conversation. I'd appreciate it.
All right. I mean, it's always such a big question. Who am I?
I
know. But in this format here, I'm a practitioner and a chef helping people around the world to really redefine their healing journey and see if they can't balance their health and get out of the dis-ease that they're in and move into a healthier, more vibrant state. So yeah, I mean, gut health, MS, chronic disease, get all of it.
There you go. I know we're on borrowed time, so it's a quick overview of all the work you do. And we've had some great conversations in the past. And was it last week? It was about divorce, right? Or about something in your life. You know, could be a health scare. It's a divorce, and you shared your personal experience with us and your health crash with MS, right? So that was when life breaks the plan, and that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, as she's discussed. No matter what you think, right? And you think your life is going to be a certain way, and sometimes it's not. So yeah, now you also have times where you're in life and you just say, hey, I got to walk away. That's a hard decision. That's a bold decision. But sometimes you got to make that change. And I know we're going to dive down that path today, if you don't mind sharing your personal journey as well.
Yeah, no worries. Absolutely. And so, yeah, as you say, we talked about like how life can unfold and it isn't what you had hoped for. Maybe it's, it results in a disease diagnosis. Maybe it results in some other trauma or experience that just doesn't align with what feels right. And as you say, to make the bold decision to walk away feels like a major thing that most people don't feel like they have that they have access to that decision. And I'm here to say, we are responsible for our own walk on this planet, in this life. We get one shot. And so part of my health journey and what I do with my clients is to really help them understand that even these tough decisions of walking away, and I'll get into my story, but this idea that we actually have to change things that we are so comfortable with as adaptable humans, that it feels like it's a bigger, it's like the harder decision. But I'm here to tell you that the harder decision is staying in that life. And that, in fact, the path of least resistance is to change your life. And so for me, the bold decision to walk away meant closing a business that I'd started, that the community was invested in, that I loved. But it was like the underlying fuel for the fire that was creating misalignment in my marriage, that was creating, and more importantly, misalignment in my own ability to take care of myself. You know, we start to get, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm focused, I'm a Virgo, I got a lot of things pushing up against that need to sort of balance and give myself time, this perfectionism, all of these things, right? We just want to nail it. We just want to do a good job. And we can lose perspective. We can lose the sense of what's important, because we're inundated with hydro bills and insurance and mortgages and all these things. And so, and if you're in a marriage and have children, other people's needs, and of course, women specifically, but as we look in the current times, we see men doing this as well. Or starting to do it a little bit more. We tend to be the heart of the home. We tend to be the center of a family. And so with children and spouses and things like that, it's really tough to, and then a business, tough to like put ourselves first ever. And so, my life started to fall apart, and
Yeah.
I just sat in the space of like grief and sadness, but I couldn't help but hear my gut or my head or whatever it was, follow your heart, screaming at me to go to Italy. And I thought, what is that about? Like Italy? And honestly, I think that because it was like the home of my roots, and also Tuscany is like the land of the slow food movement and 5 ingredients or less. And as a
Oh,
chef, it's really inspiring to me. Also, the idea of the dolce vita, like they put balance first. So I was looking for an example. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Um, but again, listening to this inner voice saying, this is it. You actually have an opportunity now to drop everything. And that seems like a cop out, almost like I was running away, but dropping everything isn't just like dropping everything. I mean, I was very responsible about tying up loose ends. I really believe that energy is important. So if we create beauty in our lives, and if
yeah.
we create relationships and connections, and then we just ghost, walk away, sever, all of that energy is just flapping in the wind, right? It's all out there, but it hasn't been tied down. So I felt like that was really important. So I did those things. I
Yeah.
sold everything. I sold my business, or closed my business,
Wow.
sold our possessions, all that. And I moved to Italy. And the big lesson in all of this is trusting your gut, because when I got there, all kinds of things happened. I mean, I'd never traveled on my own, especially with an MS diagnosis,
Yeah, this is so
to all different
brave. I mean,
places.
amazing. I'm in awe. I wish I could do this. I have kids and I can't right now, but oh my God, I'm so proud. Your whole family and friends must be so proud. But go ahead, continue.
It, were, I, they were, but they actually, in fact, I mean, I kept hearing, "You're so brave, you're so brave, you're
They
so
might,
brave." And for
you're
me,
crazy. You're
well,
crazy. There was some saying that too. I'm sure there was the naysayers, right?
aren't, yeah, aren't you afraid? What could happen? Like, and listen, I slept in some dodgy places, and I had some experience that were like almost got kidnapped in Rome.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
but I didn't, and I was fine, and I continued on my journey. I think that the things that I learned were in all of it, because and we'll talk about this in another call, but in the end, exposing making the decision
Yep.
to out, to stop being in a life that stressed me out, didn't serve my heart anymore, caused me to be in fight or flight a lot. And that was not just from like the stress and busyness, but also, and I mean, my ex-wife and I now have like, amicably separated, and we are actually friends. But at the time, it really felt like
Yep.
it wasn't serving me. Um, that to me is the brave part. That to me is the brave part. Going to Italy was like the reward, even though it feels scary. The brave part was saying, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
this is not okay. I'm not. And I mean, I have to say that my ex-wife did it for me, because she's the one that said this is over. And I needed that. I needed that to happen. And this idea of choosing yourself, choosing the life that you want. And you say, Jill, I have kids, I can't do it right now. And I mean, I want people to understand that I don't expect everyone to just drop everything and jump on a plane to Italy, especially with fuel prices right now. But
Mm-hmm.
we are talking about this idea of making choices that don't fuel your illness, don't fuel your stress, don't negate what your
Yeah.
gut is telling you, don't silence your soul speaking to you, right? And this is something that I think, as a population, are good at doing. Push it down, push it away, push past it, instead of dealing with it, straight into it. It's scary. One thing that we do with my clients, I do a lot with my MS mentorship, but I'm starting to do with most of my coaching clients, is to have, I did this and it changed my perspective, is to have them write their old story. So you write down what you know to be true, right now. What is your old story? What is it in terms of your beliefs? What is the narrative you tell yourself in your head? What are the thoughts that you have that fuel the beliefs that you have? Because no matter what, we can say for certainty that your brain is not wired for
Yeah.
joy or love, it is wired for survival. So everything that we hear in our head is going to have to do with things like what's going to make it easiest, what's going to keep us alive. And the brain only has examples from
Mm-hmm.
past experiences. It has no way of being able to predict the future. And so when we get stuck in this narrative of listening to ourselves, oh, well, quitting all these things is going to be too hard. Oh, I can't even imagine moving right now. What would leaving my spouse look like? Good goodness gracious, how would I afford it?
Yeah.
Where would I live? What would I do?
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
all of these things, right? And it's something that everyone thinks about, right? When we start to consider changing our lives, especially at 30 or 40 or 50, where you've like started to establish yourself.
Yep.
I would put in there that the risk is greater to not at least consider a new story, right? So if you're not in a place in your life where it feels aligned with what you want in the future, then it's time to write your new story. And even if you don't believe it in its entirety, even if you just take your old story and you literally flip the script, it's about installing this new idea
Sure
in
is.
your body so that you can start to make things happen, right? And so for a lot of people, that's going to look like, looking at how your parents maybe dealt with decisions, perhaps how you were raised to be silent or speak out. What does it look like for you in terms of how you make decisions around your body, like your life? Is that serving you anymore? If it's not, what does it look like now, right? What do you want it to look like? Because if you can write that new narrative, it's about, and it could be point form. We're not talking about novellas here. We're not talking about authors here. Just get it on paper and then read it to yourself every day.
Yeah.
Install it into your subconscious as a way to help support you when you're like, what was I thinking making this decision? How could I believe that I could ever change my life? Um, I broke my elbow while I was in Italy. I was totally unable to like do all the things I committed to doing. And yet the women who I was staying with, they cared for me. And so it's also having faith in humanity, understanding that like, we're not alone here. And if we're able to like connect with the greater community, trust our own ability to make decisions. This is the other thing, trusting ourselves, right? And that's where self-integrity comes in. So following through, listening to ourselves, not pushing things down, not pushing things away. Because I really truly believe that disease, if you're talking about like what I do, disease starts there. It starts there. If we continue to make decisions that put us into dangerous spaces, and danger can be conceived as anything that spikes your cortisol, right? That causes that fight or flight response. If we do not make decisions, and again, people are trying to just survive here, but perhaps it's the first step is placing a boundary, just saying no, or taking the time to like evaluate, does my marriage still serve me? Does my relationship with myself still serve me?
Mm-hmm.
What about my parents, my siblings? Is my biological family
Oh,
actually
yeah.
providing me with what I need? Do I need an extended family? Am I connecting with people? Am I sitting around expecting people to reach out to me all the time and just everything to come to me?
Yeah.
Can you relate to this, Jill, at
Oh,
all?
of course I can. Oh my, I think all of us can.
Tell me about what's going on in your life right now where you're just like, oh boy, if I could rewrite my script right now, if I could rewrite my story, I would.
Oh my God, I had a flood in my house. I had a bad car accident January 30th. Lost the car. Kids were okay. I'm fine. Then I had a flood in the house 6 days later. all my son's bedroom furniture, everything in the house. We're in boxes still. We're still sleeping on couches. Everything got hauled away, and now it came back, and it's in the yard, and they did the wrong thing, and it's just so stressful, and it's taking forever to do the floors. We got to do the steps. It's like, but again, I had to stop and sit back and say, wow, I'm actually so disorganized living amongst chaos and boxes, but this time it's not my fault. I feel better because normally I have an organizational struggle in the home, and now I'm like, I really can't do anything about this one. So, and then in hindsight, I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm okay. So I try to see the positive. The first week or so was not positive. The why me, and the miserableness, and the crying. But I'm very grateful and thankful. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's the place to start, right? Is gratitude and yep. Not even this. I mean, there's the like listing the gratitude every morning, and then there's embodying gratitude, right? And
yep.
both help to set the mindset. But I hear you. I mean, we talked about floods last time. I've also had an epic flood in my life, and boy, does water ever really. It should never be floating in your house. Right? It should always be on the outside. And so then when you look at something like that and you're just like, wow, all of these things are happening. And yes, I'm grateful, but grateful isn't going to get the furniture out of the yard or get me out of my bed necessarily today, right? And so then when you think about like where you are now in relation to your dreams, in relation to where you want to be, the woman who you can become, that person, where are you at in terms of being able to achieve that for yourself, do you think?
Oh, wait, would you like me my whole entire life?
Well, like you think about like, here I am, I've got these children, I'm on my own, we've got these bumps in the road. Clearly you're a good problem solver. Clearly you're good at like figuring things out, but it doesn't change the stress. And so when you think about yourself in the future, what do you envision for like the ideal Jill? Somebody who you want to be.
It would be traveling. To move to Italy. I want to travel to Italy. I want to travel to this country. I want to see things. I want to not have the stress of being mom, which is going to be a while because they're 9 and 11, which is great. But college, okay, so I have like 10 more years. To give a little bit of more of my life back. But I want to travel. That's really what I want to do in life. I've accomplished everything else. I had the kids. I have a nice house. We got a pool now. I mean, I'm really content with what I've done and accomplished. But now for me personally, I want to see the world. And I take my kids on little trips here and there, but I kind of want to see the world with another adult or myself because it's not easy with the kids. You can't, like, I'm taking them to Niagara Falls in 2 weeks on Canadian side, right? So my sister and her kids never been. And so I'm doing that with the kids. But it's a lot when you bring everyone to do these vacations, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, and I was going to say, you could take your kids and you could woof with them. And when I was in Italy, there were children working in the farms or working in the gardens and traveling, and there's like boarding, and it makes it more affordable. But I also understand like wanting to actually have an adult conversation.
I know, it'd be nice. But I may take them to the CN Tower. I mean, it's probably boring to hear the CN, but to me, I want to see something different in Canada. Why not? I'm there.
The CN Tower is spectacular, really.
I don't even know what it's about, but I just know people say go see it. I'm so sorry. I'm naive to Canada.
All good. I mean, it's one of the tallest towers in the world. I think at one point it was the tallest tower in the world. It has a rotating restaurant though at the very top.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't get movement sick, then like it's a fun place to go. You can stand on the glass floor and look all the way down. So we're talking about a really high place. Anyway, so back to this. Where does Jill want to end up? So when you think about your future pacing and like the dreams that you have in the life that you're in now, are there adjustments that you see? I mean, outside of your kids not being quite old enough for that, like you can't change that really. But like, do you see where you could make some adjustments in terms of how you approach things, how you address yourself, ways that you put yourself first, things like that. Like anything come to
Well,
mind?
I just started my kids, the fourth week was yesterday with counseling. I think it's good for all of us because as a single parent trying to juggle everything and, they're upset they don't want to go, but they're actually kind of enjoying it, I think, to go talk to someone. I said I want to make us the best family ever and I don't want to fight. I want my son to do better in school. I don't want to do the reaction of yelling and, if things don't get done. And so I really feel like I'm taking a hold of, us as a unit, which I've never done. And I look back to my life as a child and I wish my mother would have done this for us. So I'm trying to instill mental health is beautiful. You take care of your body, you take care of this, one out our brains. So I'm proud of that as well. That's something I'm proud to say I've recently done.
I love that for you. And actually, that is a good example of what I'm talking about. It's like, you know what? Things are pretty great in my life. However, where can I fine tune them? How is it that we can connect more? This is what I want for our family. And so, I mean, it's maybe TMI, but in addition to your children, are you also thinking about how you can support yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about work, right? So I do my best here. I've been looking for other work, and since I work part time here and there, so yeah, I try. I try. That's all I could say. And I believe in positivity and prayer and notes, for a visionary of where I want to be, what else I want to do in life, and to accomplish that next, work goal in a sense. But I believe in that. Thank you for asking. No one asks me.
Cheers, cheers. Well, and so that I would say, lovingly reminding you that it's really important for us to also nurture our minds, our mental health. And so, if your kids are in therapy and they're, growing, that's also something that you might want to consider for yourself, not for any other reason except, I mean, therapy is important, right? It's something that we continue to be able to get to know ourselves and have somebody who's able to hold that container for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, this idea of wanting to have a different life than how we grew up potentially is a beautiful thing if you're able to actually make those actions forward and get your kids into that space. I love that for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, so that's where we're at. I think we're almost at the hour. You're in charge
No,
of.
we're still good. We still got more time. Go for it. Go
Okay,
for it.
perfect.
Yeah, we got 6 more
Yeah.
minutes.
So if we're talking about that type of thing, going to therapy, getting your kids into therapy, feeling like you're, coming to a point where your goals and yourself are able to align, that is the biggest thing. And then being open to, this idea of putting yourself especially as a mom, first sometimes, right? Which is one of the hardest things to do. And part of it has to do with this narrative, and this is the old story, this narrative that kicks in that is motivated by guilt,
Yeah.
and guilt to me it's an interesting thing because I think it's there as a reminder to like potentially gauge where you're at, right? Like, okay, instead of just making a decision that's solely based on you and what your needs are, it's reminding you, you know what, you've got these other obligations, you've got these responsibilities.
Yep.
What about them? And so it allows you to like anchor a decision so you don't forget to consider them. However, a mother who is out of gas, is out of fuel, is running on empty, or close to it, is exhausted, is not going to be showing up for herself or anyone else the way that she potentially needs to. And this is how I felt. I'm not a mother, I'm an auntie to many, but I still felt like I wasn't showing up for anyone the way that I wanted to, because I just wasn't feeling fulfilled in
Yeah.
every aspect of my life. And I feel like a lot of people experience that. And, because we're trying to survive with all the other stuff, it's like,
Excuse me. I hit muted time by sneeze. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. But there's this like, uh, struggle to sort of carve out time for us, right? And so, what do you do specifically for yourself every day, Jill?
I brush my teeth. I don't do much. I shower. I don't do much. It's always get the kids ready. Then I get ready for work, and then yeah, I don't do much
Mhm.
for myself.
Okay. Well, I challenge you to come
Oh,
up with one thing that you are going to do for yourself today? What do you think that thing would be?
Let's see. After school, I gotta get the kids. We're going to the baseball game, the PTA. For myself, oh my gosh, I have a book that I've been trying to start to read and I haven't. That someone gave me. I'd like to say I could
Okay.
start that, but I can't today. But tomorrow, today's very
Okay.
busy.
Or else
I want
too.
to.
Go ahead. You want to what?
I want to start reading that book.
Well, I'll start reading that book then.
Okay.
It's important.
Okay.
Um, and then on top of that, when you get into bed tonight, it just takes 5 minutes. You can account for your day, right? What fueled you? What drained you? How do you feel when you're landing in bed, right? Like we tend to forget to sort of evaluate where we're at. And I think that doing an inventory every once in a while, this can be gratitude as well. Not that I'm a poo-poo, I'm a huge advocate of gratitude. It's just a really common thing, but the idea here is mindset. So sitting in your bed and just going over like, okay, how did my day go? How did I feel like?
Yeah.
Is there anything that I could have done differently or better? It kind of follows with this idea in Finland where they have the children write their worries down in the last 15 minutes of the day in a book. And that is the only time in the day where they're able to look at their worries. And this helps them to sleep at night. And their childhood anxiety levels are really low in comparison to ours in North America.
Interesting.
And so and then the next time you can look at that is the next day at that time. But in between then and now, you're not revisiting it. You get it down on paper and that's it, right? So it's an opportunity for you to do your thing, say your thing, think about that thing, and then put it away so that you can sit in a bit of peace because, our brains can really overact, I think. But yeah, I would encourage you to read that book. I want to hear all about how far you've gotten the next time we talk.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called Magnetic. It was a lady who I just met, and I interviewed her. She's like an intuitive psychic, and it's called Magnetic. And she says, please read this. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I never make time to read books, and it's on my couch. But since last Friday, I haven't had time to read it. I need to start. So thank you for the accountability factor here. And what about you? What are you going to do for yourself before next week?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm really working on, the weather is loosened up here. And so I'm really working on, I get a lot of fitness with my trainer, but I want my walking time. So my morning time for me and getting out into nature is really important. Getting that like light in my eyes that helps to set my melatonin, which helps us sleep. That's really important. So I'm committing to walking twice this week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for me, getting that time in is a lot. It's hard to do, and so trying to do that. Drinking more water because again, it's getting warmer, and yeah, I also have a book I'd like to start, and I would say to you, you only 5 minutes of reading is fine.
All right.
4 pages, one
Thank
page.
you.
Who cares? Just get started, right? The other things that you can try and do for yourself is reach out to 5 people every day.
All right.
That can be for work, that can be friendship, family, all of those things. Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, we got to wrap up. Enjoy your day. How do we contact you?
Yeah, reach out to me. I love an email at info@holobiomeholistics.com. Check out my Facebook group. My clinic is Holobiome Holistics as well. Still don't have that Instagram account, so some accountability for that would be great. And once you reach out, then we can go from there. We'll figure things out.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Great speaking with you. Thank you for enlightening me today and making me feel better. Self-care is important, and I could travel, I could do things, and I'm going to start reading. At least do something for myself. Thank you for the recap. All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.